All creatures, big and small, contribute to the incredible diversity of life on Earth. While the tiniest insects and microscopic organisms often go unnoticed, some animals are simply too massive to ignore. From frogs as big as a human head to the largest crocodile ever recorded, here are the 15 biggest animals of their kind. Number 15. Giant African land snail. Alright, for our first entry we should probably turn our attention toward this mammoth mollusk. After all, giant snails that are invading ecosystems across the planet. What is there to fear? Well, as it turns out, quite a lot, actually. Endemic to the continent of Africa, this giant land snail has since become one of the most problematic creatures of the 20th and 21st centuries after this invasive species first found themselves on the shores of Hawaii in the 1800s before eventually making their way to Florida just a few decades ago. The story behind how these huge snails made their way to the Americas is actually a cautionary tale for the ages. Back in the 1960s, when a young boy was vacationing with his family in Hawaii, he pocketed a few of these baby giant mollusks and took them back with him to Florida. Once home, he quickly grew bored of the snails and handed them to his grandmother, who then set them free in her backyard. What happened next would be one of the worst pet invasions in North American history, and it's one that the state of Florida is still trying to recover from. In total, it took 7 years for Florida to eradicate the giant mollusk, but other places such as Brazil are still trying to battle this invasive monster. Given the fact that the giant African land snail eats everything in its path, it's a problem that needs to be solved rapidly. Number 14. The Chianina. Sure, any kind of bull is pretty dang huge by its nature, but this next entry is an entirely different beast altogether. Native to Italy, the Chianina may very well be one of the oldest breeds of cattle in human history, and records of their existence have been traced back as far as the Greek poets, particularly in the works of the famed Roman poet Virgil. In fact, their name comes from the Chiana Valley in the famed province of Tuscany, where the prestigious Chianti wine is made. Like most working animals up until recent times, the Chianina has been used exclusively as draft cattle, hauling incredibly heavy plows and farm equipment across the landscape of their Italian homeland. But with the advent of machinery in the 20th and 21st centuries, their use has since switched to beef production, and well, to put it bluntly, that's a heck of a lot of beef. The porcelain white Chianina is the largest breed of cattle in the world, recognized by their extensive and refined muscling. The average cow weighs roughly around 2,200 pounds, and the average bull will tip the scales at a staggering 2,800 pounds. Cool. Number 13. Sichuan Mosquito. Mosquitoes are annoying, and they are one of the most deadly insects on the planet, responsible for spreading a number of life-threatening diseases throughout history. Nowadays, combating mosquitoes requires a little ingenuity and patience, but is otherwise a pesky way of life that most of us know how to deal with. You know, when you're trying to sleep and you hear a buzzing noise. Well, picture that but with a 4-inch-long mosquito. In China, more specifically in the province of Sichuan, giant mosquitoes are a very real and apparent danger, and given the fact that over 100 different types of giant mosquitoes exist there, it's proven to be quite the worrisome trend for biologists and naturalists alike. Thankfully for us, the vast majority of the Sichuan mosquitoes feed on plant nectar and not human blood, so we don't need to worry about one of these colossal critters draining us of our blood supply in a single sitting. Incredibly, the largest variety of the Sichuan mosquito wasn't actually discovered until as recently as 2018 when it was found in August during a field trip to Mount Qingchang near Chengdu, the capital city of the province. The mosquito variety was first found in 1876 by a British entomologist, and since then, more and more varieties of the Sichuan mosquito have been revealed to science. Hopefully, there isn't a larger blood-sucking version waiting somewhere in the wild. Number 12. World's largest rat. And for our next entry into this colossal world of giant animals, let's take a look at something a little unexpected. Giant rats are the stuff of nightmares, right? Well, thankfully for us, this one is actually pretty endearing. Meet the Bosavi woolly rat, first discovered in the jungles of Papua New Guinea just over 10 years ago. Even more incredible, these animals were actually discovered in the crater of a volcano, which is thought to be part of the reason why these creatures grew to such massive proportions. The team that discovered it was led by a BBC documentary crew and a group of scientists who had to rappel down into the untouched volcanic crater, an expedition that yielded not just this giant rat, but over 40 previously unknown species. The Bosavi woolly rat was remarkably unafraid of humans, suggesting it had never encountered any predators before. Covered in dense, silver-gray fur and sporting powerful claws, this species seems perfectly adapted to life in a hidden world. Its diet consists mostly of plants, roots, and small insects, and scientists believe its isolation led to its unusual size. The crater itself was half a mile high, and even the local tribespeople were incapable of accessing the area easily, meaning that the world's largest rat had free reign in an untouched paradise. Weighing in at nearly 3.5 pounds and measuring 32 inches from nose to tail, the Bosavi woolly rat has claimed the title as the biggest rat in the world. Thankfully for us, they won't be climbing through our sewers anytime soon. Number 11. Giant golden-crowned flying fox. Ever heard of the giant golden-crowned flying fox? Well, while it's quite the mouthful, it's also considered to be the largest bat in the world, an incredibly rare species. This bat is famed for its amazingly large wingspan that they often use to wrap around their body like a cloak. When fully displayed, the wingspan of this flying fox can reach up to a staggering 5 feet. It's probably as close as we'll get to an actual Dracula-esque bat in the wild. These creatures are native to the Philippines and are typically found roosting high in the treetops of remote forested islands, far from human activity. Despite their intimidating size, they are actually gentle fruit eaters, primarily surviving on figs and other native fruits. Conservationists are becoming increasingly concerned, though, as deforestation and illegal hunting have drastically reduced their numbers in recent years. They're often hunted for bushmeat or captured due to superstition, mistakenly believed to be omens or harbingers of misfortune. In reality, they're essential for seed dispersal, helping to maintain the health of tropical forests. Colonies can number in the thousands, and when disturbed, the sky can darken from their synchronized flight, a breathtaking and eerie spectacle. Due to their size and appearance, they've become the subject of countless myths and urban legends, with some calling them sky vampires, even though they pose no threat to humans whatsoever. Researchers are working hard to better understand their migratory habits, hoping to implement protections that could save the species from extinction. Famed for their long snouts and pointy ears, the giant golden-crowned flying fox is more reminiscent of a canine than that of their native bat species, even displaying a golden-brown fur on their head like a coat of a fox. Obviously, the flying fox has zero relation to actual foxes and instead continues to be a strange and gigantic question mark in the world of bats. But these mysterious creatures have since captured the imaginations of people across the planet. Sure, they may look pretty mean from a distance, but they're also kind of cute, right? Now it's time for today's topic. On March 23rd, this year residents of Dar es Salaam's Mikikini neighborhood were left in shock when a massive crocodile, estimated to be over 30 feet long, was spotted crawling through a flooded street near Ali Hassan Winnie Road. The incident occurred after intense overnight rainfall overwhelmed the city's drainage system, turning major roads into waterways and trapping several vehicles. Locals quickly gathered on balconies and rooftops as the enormous reptile emerged from the rising floodwaters. It slowly approached a stranded SUV, its massive tail trailing behind like a river current. Witnesses claimed the crocodile attempted to clamp its powerful jaws around the vehicle's front bumper, possibly reacting to its shape or trapped motion. Photos of the encounter quickly spread across Tanzanian social media, prompting reactions from both shocked residents and wildlife enthusiasts. Officials from the Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute, TAWIRI, later confirmed that while crocodiles are occasionally spotted in Dar es Salaam's waterways, one of this sheer size is almost unheard of. Some believe the creature may have been washed out from the Msimbazi River basin, while others claim it could be a prehistoric throwback that somehow evaded modern discovery. The SUV was later removed safely, but the questions and the fear still remain. Number 10. Freddy, the world's tallest dog. With all the incredible varieties of pooches on this planet, you may think that you've already seen the world's biggest dog. But when it comes to this next colossal canine, you ain't seen nothing yet. Meet Freddy, the pooch that has officially become the world's tallest dog and has also managed to soar to the lofty heights of celebrity in the process. And as it seems, this pedigree of being the tallest dog on the planet seems to run in the family. Freddy is a Great Dane and is owned by dog enthusiast Claire Stoneman, a resident of rural Essex, England. Raising Freddy wasn't an easy feat. He quickly outgrew every bed, couch, and even car seat they tried to fit him into. Claire says she spent nearly $15,000 a year on food alone, just to keep up with Freddy's gigantic appetite. Each day, Freddy would devour entire roasted chickens, slabs of beef, and countless treats to keep him satisfied. Despite his towering size, he was described as a gentle giant, preferring to snuggle on the couch rather than act aggressive. He became something of a local legend, drawing attention wherever he went on walks, though that became tricky too, since he required 2 strong handlers to manage his strength. Freddy even had a book written about him and inspired a legion of fans on social media. Previously, the holder of the Guinness World Record as the tallest dog ever recorded was held by Zeus, a Great Dane from Michigan, who, when standing on his hind legs, measured in at a staggering 7 feet 5 inches. However, Freddy became the heavyweight contender back in 2016 when he snatched that title with 7 feet 7 inches. Ironically, Freddy was actually the runt of his litter, and when he was a puppy, his owner never imagined that he would later become the tallest pooch in history. Hey, it always pays to root for the underdog. Number 9. Deep Blue, the Great White Shark. Okay, you've probably been wondering, when are the sharks gonna show up, right? The truth is, when we think of giant animals, the top spots are often reserved for some of the most iconic animals on the planet: elephants, giant crocodiles, whales, and of course the apex predator of the ocean, the great white shark. Sure, while Jaws may have convinced us that 30-foot sharks are swimming somewhere in the deep blue sea, the closest that we've ever seen in terrifying reality is this colossal creature, Deep Blue, the world's largest great white shark that has captured both the fears and imaginations of marine biologists ever since it was first spotted off the coast of Mexico back in 2013. Incredibly, she was first tagged and identified by shark researcher Mauricio Hoyos Padilla, who was stunned by her sheer size and calm demeanor. Unlike many other great whites, Deep Blue appeared unusually docile, often swimming slowly alongside divers with what some described as a regal presence. Her massive girth and visible scars suggest she's a seasoned predator, possibly having survived decades of battles in the wild. Experts believe her age and size may be due in part to a genetic advantage, giving her a slower metabolism and longer lifespan than other sharks of her kind. She's also been noted for her unique behavior, swimming unusually close to shorelines and interacting with smaller sharks without aggression. With her distinctive markings and a body as wide as a car, she has become a living legend among the scientific community and shark enthusiasts alike. Estimated to be over 20 feet long and still possibly growing, Deep Blue is widely considered to be among the largest great white sharks ever caught on camera, and probably the closest that will ever come to a real-life Jaws. Believe it or not, but many marine biologists estimate that Deep Blue could be more than 50 years old. Most recently, in 2019, Deep Blue came into the spotlight once more when she was captured by a National Geographic documentary crew as she feasted on a whale carcass off the coast of Hawaii. She's huge, we're gonna need a bigger boat. Number 8. Goliath Frog. The aptly named Goliath Frog is, as you may imagine, the largest frog species ever recorded. Believe it or not, but these near-mythical monsters can grow more than 13 inches long and can weigh up to 7 pounds. Incredibly, scientists believe that these creatures evolved to be so huge by pushing around large rocks in order to build their complex nests. Seemingly, over hundreds of thousands of years, weightlifting has its evolutionary benefits, and this incredibly intriguing example of nest building resulted in the largest living frog on record. Observations in the wild have shown adult Goliath frogs dragging rocks several times their own weight to create artificial ponds for their offspring, an extraordinary behavior for an amphibian. These carefully constructed pools not only protect their eggs from fast-moving streams but also from predators, showing an advanced level of parental investment not often seen in frogs. What's more, males have been seen standing guard at these nests, sometimes refusing to leave for hours at a time. This nesting strategy is believed to have played a direct role in their size increase, as only the strongest individuals could successfully build and protect such spaces, leading to the natural selection of larger and more powerful frogs. In terms of locomotion, despite their bulk, Goliath frogs can leap impressive distances, using powerful hind legs to launch themselves away from danger with surprising speed. They feed primarily on insects, crustaceans, and even small amphibians, using a sudden ambush to snatch prey with their massive jaws. Local legends speak of these frogs as ancient spirits of the forest, and they have been woven into regional folklore for generations. Conservationists are now working with local communities to raise awareness of the frog's ecological value, trying to reduce demand in both the exotic pet trade and bushmeat markets. Endemic to a very small area between Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea, the Goliath frog is actually incredibly skittish and is also currently facing endangerment due to large-scale trapping and habitat loss. Sadly, these creatures have proven to be popular pets, and the illegal hunting of them has been devastating on Goliath frog populations. Number 7. Goliath bird-eating spider. Alright, from monster snakes to monster tarantulas, because why not, right? If you're an arachnophobe, not only is the Goliath bird-eater one of the rarest and most elusive arachnids on the planet, it's also one of the largest, gaining its namesake from the fact that its huge stature has led it to be able to reportedly take down large birds. Seriously, this thing is the size of a small puppy, with its mammoth leg span often reaching over 12 inches. Researchers who have witnessed the Goliath bird-eater have commented on how you can sometimes hear it coming, with its massive size making a distinctive clicking noise as it creeps its way across the rainforest floor. If that's not nightmare fuel, then we don't know what is. These tarantulas are known to be incredibly defensive and will often rub their hind legs together to kick up a cloud of irritating hairs when threatened, tiny barbed projectiles that can cause intense itching and even respiratory distress. Although they're rarely aggressive toward humans, their enormous size alone is enough to send even the bravest explorer running. Interestingly, their fangs are so strong they can pierce mouse bones, and their venom, though not fatal to humans, is powerful enough to take down prey many times their size. The bird-eater doesn't just rely on venom. It also uses its sheer brute force to overpower insects, rodents, and yes, even small birds in some cases. During the rainy season, they emerge from their deep burrows to hunt and mate, making encounters with humans more likely. Their mating rituals are brief but violent, with the male often becoming a postcoital snack for the much larger female. Scientists studying them are fascinated by their ability to regenerate lost limbs with each molt, an evolutionary advantage that has allowed them to thrive for millions of years. Despite their fearsome reputation, these spiders play an important ecological role by keeping populations of pests and small animals in check. Native to South America, the Goliath bird-eater is most commonly found along the Amazon basin and has previously been considered to be a rare delicacy for the local tribes found along the Amazon River. Due to them being hunted as a food source, the population of the Goliath bird-eater is currently under threat, leading to them being far more elusive than ever before. But we're pretty sure that's a good thing, right? Number 6. Hercules the Liger. Ever since Netflix's Tiger King hit the airwaves, there's been a lot more attention being paid to the big cats of the world. Never mind the larger-than-life personalities behind them. But you might recognize the owner of this huge animal, Doc Antle. His liger, famously known as Hercules, is the largest cat in the world. As a species that is nearly identical to the prehistoric saber-toothed tiger that once roamed this planet millennia ago, Hercules is the monster-sized offspring of both a lion and a tiger, a liger. Weighing in at over 900 pounds and measuring 11 feet tall, this 5-year-old feline is the most colossal cat to have ever walked the earth. Visitors are often left speechless when they see him up close, with paws the size of dinner plates and a roar that can be heard half a mile away. Despite his intimidating size, Hercules is surprisingly gentle with his handlers and is known to enjoy swimming, an unusual trait for most big cats. His diet consists of over 20 pounds of meat a day, including beef, chicken, and the occasional treat of bones to chew. Ligers like Hercules often suffer from heart issues, joint pain, and a shortened lifespan due to the unnatural breeding process. Animal rights groups have long criticized the practice, calling it unethical and harmful to both parent species. Still, these hybrids continue to attract attention from exotic animal collectors and tourists alike, fascinated by their sheer size and strength. Many experts believe that ligers have no place in the natural world, as they do not exist in the wild and serve no conservation purpose. As the result of crossbreeding, ligers are subject to awful and debilitating diseases and are often riddled with cruel deformities. They're considered by many to be a step too far in the world of big cat breeding. Number 5. Northern elephant seal. Alright, let's take a guess at the largest carnivore on the planet. Could it be a polar bear? A grizzly? A great white shark? Well, no, it's actually a seal. As it turns out, the southern elephant seal is the largest living carnivore on the planet. However, and one of the only examples of its kind, it's only the male members of the species that are allowed to hold that record. The southern elephant seal shows extreme sexual dimorphism, possibly even the most extreme example of any mammal, and typically, the males of the species grow up to 6 times heavier than the females. These enormous seals spend most of their time at sea, diving as deep as 7,000 feet and holding their breath for over 2 hours, longer than any other non-cetacean mammal. Their dives are so frequent and deep that they sleep underwater between dives, a behavior that still baffles researchers. Males engage in brutal, high-stakes battles on beaches to secure mating rights, using their massive, inflatable snouts to emit thunderous roars. These fights can leave them bloodied and scarred, but the victor gains access to a harem of dozens of females. They haul out on subantarctic beaches in massive numbers, forming colonies that are almost overwhelming in sound and smell. During breeding season, they don't eat at all, surviving entirely on stored fat as they guard their harems. The largest ever elephant seal was recorded back in 1913 in Possession Bay, South Georgia. This record-breaking beachmaster measured 22.5 feet in length and was estimated to weigh over 11,000 pounds. That is absolutely huge. Seriously, these are some big boys, and they're among the biggest animals ever recorded. Number 4. Chinese giant salamander. Okay, let's turn our attention toward the world's largest amphibian, a creature traditionally found in the Yangtze River basin of China that can often reach a staggering 7 feet in length. Meet the Chinese salamander, the world's largest living amphibian that, while it can reach some incredible measurements, is actually incredibly endangered. For an amphibious lizard, you can understand exactly how impressive its size is. But sadly, for the Chinese salamander, it has increasingly become one of the most endangered creatures on the planet. Considering the fact that this incredible creature is actually a living fossil, efforts to preserve this incredible animal are vital to our planet's ecosystem. The Chinese salamander belongs to a small and ancient group of salamanders that first diverged from their closest relatives during the Jurassic period, which lived over 170 million years ago. Its wrinkled skin and flattened head give it a distinctly prehistoric look, making it resemble something straight out of the dinosaur age. What's more fascinating is its ability to survive entirely underwater while breathing through its skin. In the wild, it hides under river rocks and hunts at night, using sensory nodes along its body to detect vibrations from prey. Scientists have even observed its eerie, barking vocalizations, which have earned it the nickname baby fish in local folklore. Although they had been revered by the Chinese people for thousands of years, sadly, the Chinese giant salamanders are explicitly threatened by human hunting. While the Chinese salamander is an apex predator in its native habitat, sadly, it has been hunted to near extinction for its meat, which is considered a delicacy by the local population. Severe conservation efforts are currently underway to save this huge and incredible creature, which also include transporting them to the water systems of Japan and other Southeast Asian countries. With a little help and coordination, it's thought that this ancient species may be able to rebound and thrive again throughout China's mountain river systems. Fingers crossed, because these creatures are truly incredible. Number 3. Giant squid. Right. The truth is this list certainly wouldn't be complete without us mentioning potentially the largest and most terrifying creature on the planet. The truth is, while the blue whale is certainly the largest animal of all time, the colossal squid may have taken that title without anyone ever realizing it. After all, we don't know what lurks down in the deep, dark depths of the ocean. In reality, we know so little about the colossal squid that there's no guessing as to how large these creatures have grown throughout history, and it's almost impossible for us to estimate the potential size of the colossal squid. Some fishermen in Antarctica have reported hauling up massive tentacles tangled in their nets, only to have the rest of the creature disappear back into the inky blackness. Tales from deep-sea trawlers speak of glowing red eyes and limbs as thick as tree trunks brushing past hulls. A few deep-sea submersibles have picked up unexplained sonar readings, massive shapes that vanish the moment they are approached. It's enough to make even the most seasoned oceanographer think twice. Not only is it considered to be the largest invertebrate in history, it also has the largest eyes of any animal ever, larger than even those of the great whales. You see, human knowledge of the colossal squid is based on only a handful of examples, and as there have only ever been documented cases of eyes and beaks washing up on shore, no actual examples of the creature exist as a whole. Because of that, it is incredibly difficult to characterize the biology and ecology of such a rare species, and so it's dumped in the maybe pile. Some estimations of the colossal squid have been measured in at 46 feet in length with weights of at least 1,100 pounds. However, that might just be the tip of the iceberg, and that's a terrifying thought, right? Number 2. World's longest snake. In the immortal words of Indiana Jones, why did it have to be snakes? While you may be aware that the biggest snake on the planet is certainly the green anaconda, the longest snake ever caught was actually this 49-foot reticulated python, reportedly caught way back in 2003 in Indonesia. This species of snake has long been linked to numerous people's disappearances throughout Indonesia and Malaysia and resulted in a nationwide manhunt in trying to capture the world's longest slithering serpent. Before long, an Indonesian village claimed to have successfully captured the python, which weighed nearly 990 pounds. The massive snake was discovered lurking near a palm plantation, where locals had noticed livestock going missing under mysterious circumstances. A team of brave villagers lured the creature out using chickens and goats, eventually subduing it after hours of effort. Once captured, the serpent was named Ho-Hot and housed in a reinforced cage made from steel and concrete. Its daily feeding habits were so intense that zookeepers had to carefully coordinate its meals to prevent aggressive outbursts. Despite its terrifying size, the python became something of a legend, respected, feared, and admired all at once. Local media turned it into a sensation, drawing in scientists from around the world, hoping to study its biology and behavior. Skeptics questioned its size, citing the lack of official Guinness confirmation, but eyewitnesses remained adamant. Although it has never been officially verified, it's considered by many to be the largest snake ever held in captivity, and for nearly a decade, people flocked to the makeshift zoo in order to catch a glimpse of this monster of mythical proportions. Number 1. Lolong, the largest crocodile in the world. Alright, it kind of goes without saying, but in terms of crocodiles, which are already among the largest species on the planet, being the biggest and meanest croc in the river is a task in and of itself. While giant crocodiles have long been the source of horror movie fiction, this river monster is 100% real, and it had the fan base to prove it. Meet Lolong, the world's largest crocodile ever to be held in captivity. Although sadly, Lolong died back in 2013, his legacy as one of the most amazing examples of his species lives on to this day. Suspected of attacking several people and confirmed to have killed 2 in the process, this colossal reptile was hunted down and captured alive in the small town of Bunuan in the Philippines back in 2012. The operation to capture him took weeks, involving metal traps, teams of wildlife experts, and brave local fishermen. Once secured, it took a crane and dozens of men to transport him to a temporary pen. He immediately became a tourist sensation, drawing thousands of visitors and putting the small town on the map. Scientists studied him extensively, hoping to learn how such a massive specimen had survived for so long undetected. Lolong even helped raise awareness about crocodile conservation and habitat protection in the region. After his capture and his measurements were fully taken, officials discovered that they had actually bagged the largest saltwater crocodile in history. Astonishingly, Lolong measured in at over 20 feet in length, where it was previously thought impossible for a creature of its kind to grow to such staggering proportions. Prior to Lolong's capture, the previous record had been held by an Australian saltwater crocodile, which measured in at a staggering 18 feet. Yeah, those horror movies don't sound so crazy anymore, do they? And there you have it, the 15 biggest animals of their kind. What did you think? Join the conversation in the comments below. Thanks for sticking with us till the end. You've been watching Thought Trail. See you next time.